All right, welcome to This Explainer. You know the drill. As researchers, we spend months, heck, sometimes years running experiments, crunching data, and just pouring our absolute all into the lab. But when it finally comes time to share that science with the world, well, it all boils down to one terrifyingly blank page. Today, we're going to master the scientific abstract. As a fellow researcher who's been right there in the trenches, through the rejections, the endless revisions, the whole shebang, I'm here to tell you that writing an abstract isn't just about shrinking your paper down. It's about strategic, crystal clear scientific communication. By the end of our time together, you're going to have a foolproof blueprint to take your work from a blank screen to a confident, accepted submission. Okay, let's jump right in. First, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a conference reviewer for just a second. These committees are absolutely flooded with submissions. We're talking about reviewers having to evaluate over 300 abstracts per single session. Just imagine sitting down, coffee in hand, and realizing you have 300 highly technical, incredibly dense documents to read before dinner. And yeah, the coffee stopped working about an hour ago. That staggering reality, it completely changes how we need to approach our writing. You aren't just presenting data anymore. You are actively competing for mental bandwidth. And because of that massive volume, we hit our second and honestly way more shocking number. Reviewers spend an average of just 30 seconds reading a single abstract, literally half a minute. That is your window. You have exactly one chance to make a strong first impression. If your writing is cluttered, if your main point is buried somewhere down in paragraph 3, or if your formatting is just a complete mess, well, the reviewer is moving on. Clarity isn't just a nice-to-have feature. In the world of scientific submissions, clarity is your absolute only lifeline. So, to get you safely past that brutal 30-second filter, here's our masterclass roadmap for today. 1. The stakes and traps. 2. Overcoming imposter syndrome. 3. Anatomy of the abstract. 4. The 4-week schedule. 5. Model analysis. And finally, 6. Final checklist. All right, let's kick things off with section 1, the stakes and traps. The very first rule of scientific congresses is kinda harsh, but it's true. Your science doesn't matter if you can't follow the rules. Ignoring formatting constraints will literally get your abstract tossed out before a human even reads it. Take the ICI 2025 Congress in Vienna, for example. Their guidelines explicitly demanded a strict 250-word, 4-section format. If you submitted 251 words or forgot the exact headers, auto-rejection. The system just filtered it right out. So checking those formatting constraints, word limits, required sections, is absolutely step 0. Which naturally brings us to part 2, overcoming imposter syndrome. Before you battle the formatting, you've got to bottle yourself, right? As an experienced researcher, I see brilliant peers constantly hesitate to submit because they're convinced their work isn't good enough. It's so easy to sit there and think, oh, my topic is way too niche, or only the senior researchers get accepted. But look at the scientific reality instead. Committees are desperate for clear, novel science. They don't care about your job title. Preliminary data with a clear hypothesis, that is entirely valid. And if you think your topic is too niche, say you're working with underrepresented African health data, understand that global conferences are actively seeking that out. Your work has value. Claim it. With that confidence locked in, let's look at the actual architecture. Part 3, Anatomy of the Structured Abstract. To guide the reviewer's exhausted eyes, you need these 5 indispensable sections. Think of them as a logical chain. First, background. Why does this matter? What's the knowledge gap? Second, objective. What's your specific question? Third, methods. How exactly did you test it? No fluff here. Fourth, results. What were your main findings? And finally, conclusion. The big so what? What is the scientific impact? Master this flow, and the reviewer never gets lost. But here is the most absolutely crucial point of this entire explainer, the golden rule. 1 core message, 1 question, 1 key finding. Seriously, every single sentence must orbit around 1 solitary, unforgettable core message. A massive trap is trying to cram your whole entire thesis into 250 words. Don't do it. Reviewers only have 30 seconds. They are only going to remember one thing anyway. You need to decide exactly what that one thing is. Okay, knowing what to write is half the battle. Knowing when to write it, that's part 4, the 4-week schedule. Great abstracts are drafted and rested, never panicked over at midnight before the deadline. Here's our timeline. 4 weeks out, outline that core message. 2 weeks out, hammer out a full draft.
But pay attention to day minus 10. You need to step away for a full 48 hours. This incubation period is magic. Walking away drastically improves your editing quality because your brain processes the flow in the background. Then, day minus 5 is for peer review, and day minus 2 is your final check.
Now, about that day 5 peer review, you actually need two totally different types of feedback. First, the domain expert, your mentor or supervisor. They'll check your methodology, terminology, all of the hard science. But the second person, a non-specialist colleague, someone from a totally different department. Why? Because they are the ultimate test of clarity. If your non-specialist friend can't instantly grasp your core message, an exhausted reviewer won't either. Let's see all this in action. Part 5, Model Analysis, focusing on a highly successful abstract on schistosomiasis. Check out how these opening sentences work. Hepatosplenic schistosomiasis remains a significant public health concern. Boom, the stakes are instantly established. Then, the objective. We employed LCMS untargeted metabolomic profiling. See that? No wasted words. The reviewer immediately knows the disease context and the specific investigative tool being used. Moving into the methods section, notice what's missing. Fluff. It just strictly lists the protocols. Diagnosis via the Cato-CATS method, and then bam, comparative analyses using SPLSDA, VIP score, and heat map visualization. It proves the science is mathematically sound and rigorously designed without getting bogged down in tiny details. And the results section? This is a perfect execution of our one core message rule. Untargeted metabolomics generates a mountain of data, right? But they didn't list 20 pathways. They spotlighted one specific finding, the alteration of tyrosine metabolism as a candidate biomarker. One clear, robust finding. Finally, the conclusion brilliantly answers that "so what" question. They directly link that tyrosine metabolism finding right back to the real world, showing how it can inform future therapeutic tools. The reviewer leaves feeling like, wow, accepting this abstract actually pushes public health forward. All right, we are almost at the finish line. Part 6, Final Review and Checklist. Think of me as your mentor, looking over your shoulder right before you hit submit. Here's your pre-flight checklist. Seriously, take a screenshot of this. Guidelines read? Word limit strictly respected? One core message prominent? Are all 5 indispensable sections actually there? And did you actually address that non-specialist feedback? Mentally take every single one of these boxes to make sure your submission is completely bulletproof. Which leaves us with this final, vital thought. Your research matters, folks. Your data literally has the potential to shift paradigms. But you only have 30 seconds to make a reviewer see it. So, I'm going to leave you with a challenge. If you had exactly 30 seconds to change your field, what is your one core message? Distill your hard work, trust the process we outlined today, and hit that submit button with total confidence. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see your science on the big stage.